We recently bought this Citroen C1 to make into a race car, specifically for the C1 Racing Cup, one of the cheapest cup racing events in the UK. It's a series of endurance races for motorsport enthusiasts using only the first generation Citroen C1s. The club offers a calendar of 3 and 24-hour endurance races throughout the UK at some of the best tracks in the country. If you check out their webpage, the 2025 calendar is now live and you can find all the information on building a C1 race car on there at a low cost like us. Which if it's ready, we're going to be competing at Silverstone for the last race of the season. One of the most famous racetracks in the world opened in 1947, home of the British Grand Prix. Silverstone has a heritage like no other, and in a few weeks' time, our car is going to be screaming round those famous corners if we get a move on, that is. In the first video, we stripped the car to a bare shell, removing everything from the interior to make way for a roll cage. As well as every part of the front and rear axles to be powder coated. Then in the last video, we rebuilt the suspension back on using all new parts, as well as fitting the engine back up into the car. And now it's time to take on the interior of the car. That's the roll cage, fire extinguisher, refit the dash, everything else, all the safety equipment that we need. But before we crack on with the interior, I have a few little bits to sort out before Lee comes. Okay, so we have gearbox oil to go in. We've got the front pads to put in with new brake hoses. The ECU, which is back from tuning, it's got the little chip on, mandatory for the race. Rear boot lock, which is a push button compared to our poverty spec key. And yeah, let's go. First easy job is the ECU. Once I got the car on the ramp, it has 3 bolts holding it to this metal frame on the bulkhead. Once those are fastened up nicely, there's 2 plugs which clip into the top of the ECU. Perfecto! This nut is the gearbox plug, hard to see but it's under the gear cables. When you remove it, this is where the gearbox oil is topped up from. You can either use a funnel or syringe like I am. Once it's all in, make sure you put the plug back on, and that's another quick job done. Onto the brakes now. So I've got endurance brake race pads to put in. These can only be ordered from the C1 Racing Club, specifically for the endurance racing. Here I'm removing the caliper and carrier as I want to clean them up as they look a bit shabby. Gave these a little freshener with the carriers. They aren't mint, but they're better than what they were, so yeah, I'm happy with them. And now I can get them on the car. 2 bolts what hold the caliper carrier on. Tighten nose, then get the pads in, along with the caliper. Nice. Those right there are our new braided brake hoses, again ordered from the C1 Racing store, which will finish the brakes off just nicely. 1 bolt to the caliper, 1 to the shocker, then connect it up with the original brake pipes on the car. And not forgetting the retaining clip. Alright, the brakes all bolted back together. I just need to get them bled. They're looking 1,000 times better painted. I've just hand painted them, but it's better than what it was. I still need to get some shockers, which are still on the way. I might do them in the next video, but yeah, I can get the brakes bled up now. Last little piece I'm going to do is this push button lock. As you can see, ours is poverty spec. So I'm going to put this bad boy on because it's mandatory for the race, presuming it's a safety feature. But yeah, let's get on. Highlighted on the C1 regulations, it says the tailgate must be opened by either a button or a pull cable. I managed to get this off eBay for a few quid. My guess is if you crash and you can't access the doors, the boot will need to be opened easily. When doing any cup or endurance racing, you want to read through all of the regulations. Make sure you have your car to their standard, otherwise they may not allow you to race, which will be a sad day. Alright. Now it's all complete, it's finally time to get that cage in. It is looking very bare in there, but there is a lot of the kit to go in. A roll cage is a protective frame built into the car to protect the driver in the event of an accident, especially a rollover. You see it time to time in racing, some worse than others. Ultimately, it's the device that will save you if you are unfortunate to be involved. First thing we need to do is drill off the upper strut mount. It has 4 spot welds holding it on, then there's 2 tabs on either side of the dash frame. Now Lee is here to give me a hand. We can dry fit the cage into its position to see whereabouts it needs to be. The back piece goes in first, then build the rest around it, starting with one side at a time. When the back is in, we can mock up the side and top bars, seeing where it needs to be and mark the area we are going to weld the footplates to. Once we're happy with the marks, it's time to take it back out to tack weld the plates in place. If you're doing this at home, get used to removing the cage as you have to do it 3 or 4 times. It is worth it in the end though, trust me. Now it's out, we have to drill where our bolts are going to go into the chassis. Whilst I'm doing that, Lee's removing the paint from the areas we need to weld to make sure it sticks well. And back in with the cage we go. Bolt everything on as normal, making sure it's sat where it needs to be, because if it's not lined up properly after you weld the plates on for good, then it may not go back in properly when you install it for the last time. Yeah, go for it. Oh yeah. Time to tack weld them base plates in. You only need a bit of weld on each side for the plate, then you can remove the cage and get them fully welded up and painted. And all was going so well until this happened.
Oh no, you run away. Oh no, that's not the phone, man.
Alrighty then.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
Great. Right, it's Monday, got some welding wire. We had to abandon ship on Sunday because we ran out. Stupid. Never mind. But yeah, can start tacking the feet in place and then get the cage fully welded in now. Let's go. Back to the tack welding we go. Like I said earlier, you only need a bit to hold the plate on each side, then the cage can be removed to gain better access to weld it up fully. Once I'm happy those are in place, we can undo the bolts for the cage and get it stripped out again. I'd say now is a good time to tell you about the music I'm using in today's video. All the tracks are from my brother's local band, the CarProject. If you want to give them a proper listen, the links to their Spotify and Apple Music will be below. Then we also have D.WARD Automotive, who have kindly sponsored us to do this race. They've supplied us with many parts such as the service kit, the clutch, the timing kit and much more. If you are local to the Bishop Auckland area and need any parts or paint mixing for your vehicle, don't be afraid to pop in and get a good deal. Back to the car, as you can see I managed to get the floor plates welded in, now the cage can be fitted for the last and final time. Thankfully, as me and Lee were really sick by this point. And we really do need to get moving because testing the T-side is only a few days away. When all the bars are in place, tighten all the nuts and bolts up fully, making sure that the wiring loom is on the inside of the cage and not trapped on any bars. Job's a good one. Sadly, race cars can also catch fire sometimes. In the event of this happening is the reason why we fit safety items like fire extinguishers. Like this one from Demon Twigs, it comes with the bottle, a pull cable for inside and out the car, some pipe and nozzles to plumb into the car. Our regulations state that the bottle has to be behind the passenger seat area. So first off, we mark the holes where the bracket will fit, then drill and bolt down the frame to the floor of the car. Whilst we are in that area, we also fitted our race receiver bracket onto the rear seat frame. Same process, mark the holes, drill and then bolt it up to the back. This will be connected to race control on the day on a direct channel so we can listen out for any notifications or orders. When that's done, we bolt in the bottle, making sure that the label is upright for the date to be shown and the tap exit is where we want it for the pipes. My trick is to use some rope to measure where and how long the pipe is going to be, then cut to size. Similar to brake pipes, not everyone does it this way, but I found it the easiest so there's no waste pipe. And whilst I got that done, Lee managed to bolt the 3D printed grommet to the firewall.
And it's the next day. We did have a late one last night. Tried to get as much done as we can, but it's just taken absolutely ages. So yeah, we've got the cage in, got a few pipes in with the fire extinguisher, managed to get the race receiver in, a few more bits to do.
As you can see, cage is all in there, got everything bolted up. We still have the door bars to put on, which will go across the side there. But we have fire extinguishers in place, all bolted down to the bracket. Race receiver, which we just need to put pipe wires on to tie up to the cage. And then we're on with the plumbing at the minute, which is taking absolutely ages. Yeah, a few more to go on these, and then we can pipe it up to the front on the bulkhead where the wipers are. From the C1 stores our pull cable bracket. This will hold the master switch cable and the fire extinguisher cable. I just need to mock it up where it's going to go on the scuttle, mark the holes and then drill them out. When I'm happy, I can start drilling away, 2 holes for the bracket and 2 for the cables to feed into the grommet in the car. Tightened up, I can now fit the 3 nozzles onto the scuttle. You don't have to bolt them on here like me. Some like to make brackets and have them further in the engine bay. I decided this way would look the neatest and most practical, as I had one aiming at the battery electrics, another at the fuel pipes and one on the far side of the engine. When I've drilled the holes, just pop them in and then tighten the nut up. All 3 done, I can fit this back to the car. There's about 6 10mm bolts. It's a nice straightforward job. And if you are still watching by this point and have enjoyed our other videos, now would be a good time to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We are still starting out, but we appreciate all the support we've had so far. It means so much. Thank you all. Now that's in place, it's just a case of cutting the pipes to length and fitting the nozzles to the T-pieces, making sure none of the pipes have kinked. And I'd say that's a job well done if you ask me.
Right, finally all plumbed up. That's the fire extinguisher kit done with. Just going to put the wiper motor in, get the scuttle back on, and then we can start putting the dashboard back together.
Feed the wiper motor wires through the metal with the grommet, plug it into the motor and then tighten the 2 bolts up. When that's done, I can cut the pull cable pipe to size to match it up to our bottle inside the car. Now it's a case of feeding the pipes through our C1 bracket, through the firewall grommet into the inside of the car, the master switch cable going to the dash and the fire one going to our bottle. After those are tightened up, the plastic covers could go back on, clipped into place with the bonnet rubber and the washer pipe. Then the wiper arm can also be attached. All we have to do now is feed the pull cable wire through the pipes, although it can be a pain sometimes. Don't mock it till you've tried it.
A few moments later.
Come on. Away.
Sorry.
Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can track him, mate, but not my...
No.
See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do this.
Once I had 2 hours to cool down, I eventually got the cable fed through the pipes and cut it and nip it up to our bottle. So now I'm going to tackle the electrics of the car. This is where it starts to get a bit more technical, so stay with me here. All the build notes are on the website for this, however if you aren't 100% sure, get an auto electrician on the job. So firstly I'm bolting our rubber grommet to the battery base. This is what we are going to bolt our positive wires to because we need a master switch that can cut the power to the car at any moment. The master switch works by cutting the engine off in case of emergency by slicing into our ignition wires, operated by a switch inside by the driver or the pull cable we fitted to the scuttle earlier for marshals. Here I've bolted the battery tray back on as well as the fuse box so I can start feeding some cables through our grommet in from the firewall. The master switch needs 2 wires running to and from the battery which will be put on the positive post. When I'm happy I've gave myself enough length of cable, I can put some heat shrink on, cut the end and put a new terminal on ready to clamp up. Once clamped I can heat shrink the end to tidy it up, then repeat the same process for the other wires. Whilst I'm messing about with that, Lee's giving the interior clean out, then fitting our foot plate. This just fastens up with rivets. That smartens the place up. Back to the wiring. Once I have all the new terminals clamped and heat shrinked, I can bolt it to the rubber post we put on earlier. The battery can be put back in place, clamped in and the positive terminal fastened to the wire, but not to the battery yet as we have more wires to cut. Lovely stuff. Onto the inside of the car now. I have to cut into the ignition wire, which is the blue one here. Then as you can see on the build notes, we need 2 wires from our master switch and then we can cut the wire and put the new connectors on and run some cable along the dash. Happy with them connections, I can start cutting the dashboard so it fits around the roll cage. There's a few different ways people do this. This was my first go and it didn't go too badly. As I'm playing Chop Shop, Lee is fitting our new door cards which have also been cut to shape for the cage. How nice do they look? Time to get the dashboard back in. Same way it came out, the bottom goes in first, then the top pushes on, making sure it's bolted up and all the wires are where they were. Alright, cool, so the dashboard is all in, good as I can get it really. Just need to get the radio back in with the master switches and the pull cable for the fire extinguisher. So I think that's next and then that might do for today. Lee managed to escape the dreaded wiring and fitted our mandatory toe straps, 2 on the rear and 2 on the front. As you can see we have our 2 main positive wires from the battery, 2 from the ignition switch and then an extra which goes to the resistor and then to earth. This is because when you cut the power to the car, the alternator is still putting out power. That power needs to go somewhere, which is the resistor in this case. Thankfully, that's all the wiring done. Like many mechanics, I hate it too, but needs must. Now it's just a case of bolting it up to our switchboard and giving it a try. Fingers crossed I've got this right or something may blow, which could be my head. Right. I'm going to try a quick test, see if it works. Sweet. Alright. Cool. Jobs are good. Get back in the car now. Must have been a very good day if something electrical works after I've touched it. Anyway, the panel bolts to the original part of the lower dash. When the bolts are tight, I can feed our pull cable for the fire extinguisher in there too. Sick. In goes in all the original items, such as this heater control, which has just a couple of screws that holds it to the frame. Ready to listen to some rave on this bad boy? Then our radio with the hazard and demister switches. Very nice. One screw to hold that in, then I can cut the pull cable for the master switch. Feed the cable through, then bolt it up to our switch panel. Top job. And now the lower gear sticks around can be put back on, not forgetting the clip to our fire nozzle hose pipes. One bolt will hold that to the floor, and then that's another job done. As you can see, all the pipework for the extinguisher is complete, so that's a quick hoover and the handbrakes around can be fitted, with just 2 bolts will hold it to the floor. And apart from the steering wheel, which hasn't rocked up yet, the dashboard is all complete, which I'm over the moon with. The last little job of the day is the ballast tray, 4 bolts holding it to where the passenger seat would go, and this is to carry any weight if we need it on the race day. Alright, so I think that's as much as we can do for this episode. We've got quite a lot done and I'm really happy with the progress. Teesside's just around the corner and then Silverstone a few days after. Still a bit to do, but I'm sure we'll manage. So if you've liked the video so far and all the other episodes, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, bye!